mathematicians. Today we're going to be learning about whole numbers, more specifically how to divide by two-digit numbers. Now to get us started, we have 56 divided by 14. And to make this a little easier, we are going to set this up using long division. And now that means I'm going to put my 56 on the inside because that's our dividend, and then our 14 on the outside because that's our divisor. Now, to get us started, first we're going to see how many times 14 goes into 5. Now, 14 doesn't go into 5 because 14 times 0 is 0, and 14 times 1 is 14, and that's too large. So we're going to move on, and we're going to see how many times does 14 go into 56. Now, 14 goes into 56 4 whole times, and that's because 14 times 4 is equal to 56. And so we're going to write the 4 on top because that's how many times 14 goes into 56. And then we're going to write the 56 on the bottom because 14 times 4 is equal to 56. We're going to subtract these two values and see if we have any remainder. Now, 56 minus 56 is 0, so that means we have absolutely no remainder. And so 56 divided by 14 is equal to 4. Moving on to our next example, we have 460 divided by 23. And now again, we're going to set this up using long division. 460 goes on the inside because that's our dividend. And that means that 23 goes on the outside because that is our divisor. First, we're going to see how many times does 23 go into 4. Well, it doesn't because 23 times 0 is 0, and 23 times 1 is 23, and that's too large. So we're going to see how many times does 23 go into 46. Now 23 goes into 46 2 times, and that's because 23 times 2 is equal to 46. So we're going to write our 46 down here, and then we're going to subtract these two values to see what we have left over. Now 46 minus 46 is equal to 0, so that means we're done with that, and then we're going to move down our next digit because we still have one more digit to go. Alright, even if it's 0, we do bring it down, and so we're going to see how many times does 23 go into 0. Now 23 goes into 0 times because 23 times 0 is equal to 0. And so we're going to write the 0 on top because that's how many times 23 goes into 0. And then on the bottom as well because 23 times 0 is equal to 0. We're going to subtract these two values, and 0 minus 0 is equal to 0. And that's it. There's no remainder. So 460 divided by 23 is equal to 20. It was very important that we brought down that 0 because before we only had a 2 on top, and 2 and 20 are two very different answers. So don't forget to bring down all your digits, even if it's just 0 that we end up bringing down. Alright? So our final example is 3,952 divided by 38. And again, we're going to set this up using long division. So 3,952 goes on the inside because that's our dividend. And so that means that 38 goes on the outside because that's our divisor. And so first we're going to see how many times 38 goes into 3. And it doesn't because 38 times 0 is 0, and 38 times 1 is 38, and that is way too big. So we're going to see how many times does 38 go into 39. Now 38 goes into 39 one whole time, and that's because 38 times 1 is equal to 38. So we're going to write the 38 down here, and we're going to subtract these two values. Now 39 minus 38 is equal to 1. And with that being said, we're going to move on to our next digit and bring it down. Now we're going to see how many times does 38 go into 15, and it does not, so we're going to write the 0 on top. And so that's because 38 times 0 is equal to 0, but 38 times 1 is equal to 38, and that's too big. So we're going to write down our 0. We are going to subtract these two values, and 15 minus 0 is just 15. Now we're going to bring down our next digit, which is 2. And now we're going to see how many times does 38 go into 152. And that would be 4 times, because 38 times 4 is equal to 152. We're going to write down our value down here and subtract, and we get 0. So that means there's no remainder. 38 goes into 3,952 104 times, all right? So that's it for dividing by 2-digit numbers.